my first question for you is, so this article is about financial literacy in young people.
Yes.
And how schools teach it, but some don't, how it should be in public education as a curriculum standpoint, like as a graduation standpoint. So my first question for you, because I know you like teaching about this, you like making people aware, what is your personal definition of being financially literate?
Okay, I don't know if I have a definition, but I like to tell people over and over that like they just can't waste money. Like I don't think young people understand about saving money.
Right.
Like once they get a job, even if it's a part-time job, like in high school, like I don't think, if they make that money, I feel like they spend it. Like I don't think there's any cognizant, and I don't think a lot of kids' parents save money. Like I just don't know, like as you make money and make more money, you should be able to save more money.
Right.
Like for retirement or for something bigger than, you know, a rainy day fund or whatever. And I think if you start like, I mean, my 5 and 6-year-old came up to me the other day and said, I have money and we're spending it. Like literally they were flashing it because they know I am always telling them to save money. And they like to brag that they're going to spend all of their money. So I think eventually they will understand that. But like my 14-year-old will not spend any of her money.
Right.
Like she is so tight. Like someday she's going to have to learn to spend a little bit. She can't spend my money all the time.
Right.
But I think financial literacy is learning to save money. A certain amount of money of what you make needs to be saved.
Okay.
And not touched.
Okay, so I did a little bit of stalking, and I know one of your favorite books is Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yes.
And one of the quotes in that book is, saving is losing. How do you feel about that? Like, if you don't invest it, do you feel like...
Well, I haven't read Rich Dad, Poor Dad in a long time. That really, that's what gets a lot of people into wanting to buy real estate. So as I bought a lot of real estate over the years, early on, I didn't have a lot of savings because I was trying to buy real estate. It was like a catch-22. So I never really learned how to save money at a young age, and I almost went bankrupt once, and it really stunk because I just did so much stuff and I overspent and I owed people, and then the economy changed and I couldn't pay my bills. So as I've continued to grow my companies this go round, I like to have more money saved as I do that.
Right. Okay, so what's a good investment that a young person could make, like a young adult per se?
I think a young person just needs to save it in a banking account or a checking account at the beginning. I don't think they need to focus on an investment strategy. I do get people calling me and say, hey, my daughter wants to invest this money. She has $5,000. Can she invest it with you? Well, not really. I would tell people to save money, and then maybe a parent could co-sign and do maybe not co-sign, but they could do a Roth IRA for their kid. I don't know if that's doable, but that could be a small amount of the money.
Okay.
So if I was a young person and I was 18, I would start a small Roth IRA, like $50 a month. I would do that. And then I would also save more money to invest.
Right.
And I don't know what that first investment looks like, but I would tell people a Roth IRA when you turn 18 would be a good thing to start putting a little bit of money in.
Okay, and I know you've talked about how you like to teach your daughters, and sometimes it goes wrong, they like to spend money, but why is it important for them to know about it at such a young age?
Because you don't want them to, I mean, my daughters have bad habits right now. My 5 and 6-year-old, they have very bad habits. They spend. They just want to buy stuff. They're addicted to buying stuff. But I am still preaching that it can't always be like this because they eventually need to learn. And I think kids, when they're 5 and 6 and 10 and 12, need to start hearing this from somebody. And if their parents aren't doing that, like how are they going to teach? Like I think you learn a lot from your parents on how you spend.
Yeah, that's what your favorite book also says.
Does it say that?
It does say that. So at what age did
Are
you
you a saver?
consider...
Are you a saver?
It depends on the week.
What? Okay.
Yeah, sometimes, I have expenses that shouldn't be expenses, and then other weeks, I try to put some away. So, for instance,
Are you wasting money?
I do, yes.
Give me an example of something you waste money.
So I waste money on food when I'm going in between workouts.
So you'll go to Sheetz or something like that?
Yes.
And then what do you buy there?
I'll buy just a simple meal. It'll be probably $15.
Okay.
Yeah. It becomes a lot.
You really should, young people should try to get the leftovers at home or
Right.
pack lunch from home
Right.
and not go to the Sheets. I tell people the energy drinks and all that stuff, like what are they, $5-6 now?
I don't know. I don't really spend my money on like Starbucks every day. Like
What about
I
energy
try
drinks
that.
at like,
I do not drink energy drinks
Okay.
either.
so what are you spending $15 on?
Mac and cheese.
And are you getting a drink with that? Like,
Yeah, usually. I mean, I'll just get like something that I probably don't need anyway.
okay. But that's the stuff if you start sacrificing for like
Right.
10 years,
Yeah.
you could make a difference on the back end with all that money you put into your Roth.
Yeah. This is true. Yeah.
And like kids they think when they get out of high school, let's say they don't go to college, they get a job and they're making good money. They're buying a car. They have this nice truck. I come from Big Spring, so the kids at Big Spring drive trucks.
Yes.
And then they have $1,000 car payment. But they're making good money, they tell themselves, and they deserve the truck. Mm-hmm. The problem is the truck's not really going up in value, and it's really a bad investment. When they should be buying a 15-year-old Honda Accord with 150,000 miles on it that they could buy for $3,000 and not have a loan on it, and now that $1,000 a month could be going towards a retirement account. So that in 15 or 20 years, by building good habits, they could be in a much better spot.
Right. Okay.
Those are all financial stuff. How
Right.
old are you right now?
I'm 17 right now.
Do you have a car?
I do.
Do you have a car payment?
I do not. Fortunately enough,
Good.
my grandpa and my mom have bought me my first car.
Good.
I do have to pay all the repairs and everything. But a story about that, last year I had crashed my car. It was an Infiniti 2015. It was my mom's old car, so I never
Okay.
really picked out the car itself.
Okay.
So my grandpa and I made this deal because Infiniti parts are extremely expensive. That's how it is. So I hit just the front part, just the
Yeah.
light to the side, and it was $5,000 I got quoted. And he's like, well, you didn't necessarily choose this car. So an average car to fix for that would probably be like $2,000.
Yeah.
So over the summer, the last 5 months, I've been paying payments to him to make up that $2,000, and I'm pretty sure I have $150 left.
Oh, really?
Yes, but almost all of my summer money went to him, so I've been trying to save for that
Okay.
extremely. It's
Good. So you wouldn't buy an Infiniti or a BMW or one of those types of cars based on that? You're learning firsthand.
I am, but my passion is cars. Like I really love doing that. So at the same time, I have learned.
Your passion is cars.
Yes.
Well, then what you need to think, okay, great. Pay for the car in cash and buy it. That's what I would tell you.
All right, I'm gonna need a lot of cash to buy
There you
it.
go. And buying the cash with the car is sacrificing investment opportunity, which will set you back years. Coming from the guy who bought the car.
A vet.
I bought the car.
Yep.
Well, I convinced my dad. My dad and I bought a Porsche when I was 16, so we shared the Porsche.
Okay.
He drove it, and I drove it part-time.
Okay.
And then I convinced him, I blackmailed him into getting me a Corvette. And then I bought like 2 or 3 more Corvettes. My wife was my girlfriend at the time. She saw that I was driving a Corvette. She loved it. We started dating. And then I got this revelation that I needed to save money and start doing things right. So I got rid of the Corvette and got rid of the house I was building. And I went back and living in my parents' basement.
Whatever works. I mean, my dream car is personally a Corvette, but I will try to buy it later in life.
Yeah.
Now that I know this.
You should.
Yeah, I think they're great cars.
I did buy one last year, so I bought it new. I paid cash for it, and I flipped it, and I made some money.
Okay, you made money on a Corvette. How did you flip it?
Because when they first, I was on the waiting list for 1.5 years.
Oh,
When the
okay.
new body style's sick. Do you like
I
the
know.
new ones?
Like C7, C6.
Okay.
C8's all right.
If you rode in a C8, you would want one.
I'm sure I would, so I'm just going to stay
And
away
they're not
from
that-
it.
From my perspective, they're not that expensive. They're like $75,000 for a decent one.
That's a little expensive on my end as a work 5 to 10 hours a week.
Yeah.
So, but hey, there's goals.
Sacrifice it until you really need to figure out the investment side of things first.
Yeah.
And if you sacrifice for 10 or 15 years when you're young, it's a lot easier than waiting to you're 40 or 30 and then trying to sacrifice and change everything, because then it's hard to make those changes. We were in our we were probably in our 30s when we started to, like 33, like 30 to 50.
Yeah.
And I just lived on a budget. And that's the thing, is you should live on a budget, less than what you make.
Yeah.
So I only get $500 a week in my budget. We've done that for many years. Now, that kind of, I have to do bonuses now, but a tight budget, no matter how much you make.
How do you determine that budget exactly?
Well, back in the day, the $500 a week included my fuel and my insurance in the car. So I back some of those things out over time. So now my brothers and I all get $500, and my wife and my sister-in-law, we all get $550 a week. And that pays for our food, basically our food and our utilities of our house and our living expenses, which it really doesn't cover. So we actually have to give some bonuses out now per month.
Oh, okay.
But it's every month it's a bonus. It's not like a guaranteed income. Some months I make like $100,000.
Right.
But I get 550 times 4.
Yeah, but then you'll get that money later, probably.
Someday.
Correct. Yeah, someday.
If I wanted, I could take it now, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
People take, and then if the income stops, then you're in trouble.
What inspires you to have that patience for it?
We've done it for so long. It's a habit. So that you got to create habits that you have to not act poor, but you just have to say, this is what I'm doing, and let your friends make fun of you, and just keep going along. It doesn't mean you don't have to do anything.
Right. Okay, so have any of your kids taken financial literacy in school?
I don't think so.
Do you have any outline of what the curriculum kind of looks like
Not
or
at
anything
all.
like that? So usually at Carlisle, at least, we have half a semester every 4 days.
Okay.
And it's just an hour class about, insurances, credits.
Okay.
We don't really touch on that much.
Do they talk about the stuff I was just talking about? Like not okay.
Not really.
It's so simple when you talk about it in that context.
Yeah, but it's complicated because the teacher can't really share his personal experiences, and he has to go by the curriculum.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are they allowed to have a guest speaker?
Depends on the guest.
Okay. I could come and talk.
Hey, that's
Ask them.
I will. I've taken the class last year, and it helped a little bit, but it wasn't like eye-opening to anything because a bunch of kids just knew what their parents told them.
Yeah.
And sometimes what your parents tell you,
It's pretty much what
where you'll end
everyone
up.
goes by, yeah.
Yeah.
And most parents won't talk about money with their kids.
Yeah.
They won't talk about how much money they make or how much money they have. Or, they'll just complain when they have a problem with money.
Right.
But they don't explain their financial situation with their kids.
And I'm fortunate enough to have a completely honest and transparent mom.
That's good.
So I've learned I've learned years of her complaining about health care.
Yeah.
I've learned years of that. So she's also a big saver herself.
Yep.
So she's kind of installed that into me. But, I still like to have a little fun.
Okay. You can have some fun.
I got to buy some Pitbull concert tickets and everything,
I don't know about that.
So if someone wanted to learn more about this at a young adult age, where do you think a good place to go is?
I don't think there's any places to go.
There's not?
No.
So you wouldn't recommend a certain book or...
Well, I would recommend The Rich Dad, Poor Dad. A lot
Right.
of people have read that book, and it's changed a lot of people for wanting to invest in real estate. So I would definitely tell people to read that, but I'm not a book reader.
Do you think there should be more resources for young adults to learn about it?
I think they just need to bring more people into the school to talk about problems they've had. That's what
I would agree with that, yeah.
Because I've had a lot of problems.
Yeah. But hey, look at you now. You learn,
Yes.
experience gets you
Exactly.
there. Yeah, so, cut this part out. Half of these questions were from my financial literacy teacher.
Okay.
So a lot of them are about curriculum. One that I really wanted to touch on was so a lot of my friends, as a young adult, you think about college.
Yep.
That's the only thing you think
Yep.
about. It's the big stressor in your late college years.
Yeah.
How would you explain to someone that not necessarily you're wasting your money, but you're wasting your money if you're going to this huge school for a degree that you can get here?
Yeah.
How would you explain that to someone?
I would tell kids, first of all, I would tell them to really only go to college for a couple reasons. If they have to pay for college themselves,
Right.
they really need to be, like if they're going to have to pay it all back, they really need to know what they're going there to do.
Yeah.
Like, or they're playing a sport. I think a sport is huge. If you're playing a sport in college and you can get a team to take you, you can get a partial scholarship or any scholarship, I would say go do the sport. I think you can learn a lot of work ethic by doing a college sport. If you are going to college and you're got to pay back the whole thing and you don't have any idea what you're going to do and your parents aren't paying for anything, I would highly evaluate why I'm going to college. I would have a direct path of what I want to do, or else I don't know if I'm going to go waste, is it $100,000 these days?
A lot of my friends are looking at like out of state, like Florida.
Yeah.
Or, North Carolina.
Just because they want to have fun?
Yes, and it averages to about 60 or 70 a year.
I would say no. Go to a state school. Go to Shippensburg College. Go to Hack. Go get a degree and not come out in debt.
Right.
Go to Bloomsburg. Go to a state school. Right? The state school.
That's my personal plan, to go to SHIP.
Is that what you're gonna do?
Yes.
Okay.
Hopefully.
For what?
I'm still up in the air. I know I'm going to minor in entrepreneurship probably,
Okay.
and I'm probably going to major in business management.
No, can't go wrong there.
Or business operations or something within that field.
Can't go wrong.
Maybe sales. I don't know. I find myself able to sell some things.
You don't really need to go to college for sales either.
Don't you need to have a degree to get hired though, theoretically?
Yes, that's why business is good.
Okay.
You don't want to do what your mom does?
No.
Okay.
I've learned from her stories that I do not want to do what she does.
Can't go wrong with business, and sales is, you have no cap on sales. That's what's nice about sales.
Right. Yeah.
Harder you work, the more you make.
Would you recommend getting a master's degree in business as well, or do you think?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Probably not.
Okay. All right.
Are you playing sports?
I cannot, no.
Oh, you're hurt?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. And do you think that this should be a course that is required for all schools? Specifically, I know you don't know a lot about the curriculum-wise.
I don't. I do think they should teach real life experiences, real life problems, and they need to break it down so kids can understand. And I think they need to do it by bringing in people that have had the problems and that have turned the corner on the problems. But if they don't bring in somebody, it's hard to teach from a curriculum.
Right.
Right. I learn from watching and seeing people do stuff. Most of what I've done and figured out, I've seen someone else doing it, and I watch and I learn, and I just go implement myself.
Would you say that you learned most financial literacy from your experiences?
Yes.
Like at 18, let's say, you didn't really know that much about it.
Nothing.
Nothing? Not
I
a
had
thing?
my dad's ATM card in college.
Okay, gotcha.
So I felt bad for spending his money at times, but I was just spending his money. I had no idea what things cost. Like when I needed something, I just used his ATM card.
Gotcha. All right, so you probably considered yourself financially literate at what age exactly? Like I know you're still learning every day,
Probably
every
my
day.
mid-30s.
Mid-30s?
Yeah. So if somebody could learn some of this stuff we're just talking about right now in their 18 or 20 range, it could make a big difference.
All right.
Because I had a lot of problems. I owed a lot of money and couldn't figure it out for a while. I never went bankrupt though.
That's very good. My mom's company for Rite Aid just got out of it, so.
They're out of it?
Rite Aid is out of bankruptcy,
Oh, good.
correct. They're private owned now, supposedly. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Who knows?
That was just all about restructuring probably to some degree. Pretty high level finance stuff.
Yeah, stuff that I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not in my head. All right, well, that's everything basically that I have for you today.
Okay.
If there's anything else you wanted to talk about.
We put together some classes periodically so people could look out for us, could follow us, and once in a while we've done some things for kids to come in, and we've put on a course once for kids to come in and learn, and where we actually talk to them about, just not wasting money. And you don't have to make a ton. Here's the thing, I noticed a lot of teachers do well, and teachers aren't highly paid. Do you know that?
I am aware, yeah.
But what teachers do is they're part of unions and things, and my one friend is a financial advisor. And what they do is schools bring in financial advisors to come talk to all the teachers about how they should be investing money. And not a lot of people get even, like I was in a networking group where I learned how to do a Roth IRA from my financial investor. But most people out there aren't around financial advisors. But the school system brings in these guys to talk to the teachers.
Right.
Then the teachers, even though they don't make a lot, they start investing some money, right? Even a little bit over time starts to make a big difference when you talk about working for 20, 30, and 40 years. And then when they retire, they can roll it all over into their retirement accounts. And it's a nest egg that a lot of people, sometimes in construction or sometimes in other businesses, aren't saving for retirement.
Right.
They're living in the now.
Yes, my dad does work in construction. He does not have any retirement account that I am aware of. I don't think any plan for that. So
Could be trouble.
Oh, it's definitely going to be trouble. He's
You'll be helping him out.
Probably. Probably. So I got to get double ahead so that I can help him out, I guess.
To some degree, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, if you have any, I'll be more than happy to come talk to your school or any of your finance classes.
All right.
You're not in those classes now, correct?
I am not, no. It's a junior only class.
Okay.
So it's a graduation
if you talk to him
requirement.
and wanted to bring him in, you could bring me in and I would talk to him. And we
Okay.
could have the same conversation. If you help one person kind of figure it out, it's pretty cool. Like you've heard it from me, you heard it from your mom.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be on the right step.
I hope.
As long as you don't go buy that. Like, kids need the newest iPhone. They need the newest earpod. Like earpods, right? Mm-hmm. Like they're $200, right?
I still am on my second pair.
What's wrong with the corded ones? Okay, like what's wrong?
Personally, I work out and I do basketball, so the cords actually.
Have you lost your AirPods yet?
Once.
Okay, there's 200. You have to look at that $200 invested over 20 years, and what did they cost you? 500, 600.
Yeah.
That's what you have to look at. It doubles every 10 years. So your retirement, you just cost.
And that's only for earbuds.
Now we're only talking about earbuds.
Yeah.
And there's iPads. There's the newest electronic. There's all the gadgets. Like you just don't need all that stuff.
Yeah.
But some young people think they need it all.
Right.
So you have to pay for your own college?
I have a certain amount of money that I am given. I'm unsure of how much it is. I think it's like maybe 45.
Okay.
And whatever I do with that.
Gotcha.
Like I can go to Florida for $60K a year, blow it all in 1 year, or I could go to SHIP and use most of it and come out with little debt. So I think that's the plan.
Well, come out of school with no debt, maybe take a couple trips to Florida, right? That's what you got to do.
I don't really like Florida that much.
Okay. But no, you shouldn't be going to Florida.
No, not for school.
Now, if your parents have lots of money and they're like, hey, I'm going to pay for you to go to Florida, your college is paid for, then by all means, I think kids should do it. Because it probably would be fun.
Probably.
Okay. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.